Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to today's video. So today is the last day of 2020. It is New Year's Eve, Thursday, December 31st. I almost wanted to say January already. But yeah, finally getting this year over with. So today's video is going to be a little bit something different. As you guys can see, this is my conventional deadlift session where I had it in my head during the session about some ideas that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to slowly get into informative videos. So this is going to be my first shot at it. We're going to go over deadlift positioning. And now the deadlift positioning I'm going to be talking about, it's going to go, I guess, in a series of what you want to call it, part one, part two. The first thing that we're going to be looking at is the upper back setup. So the upper back setup that I'm going to be talking about today, it's going to be related to both conventional and sumo deadlifts. So whatever you're pulling, you could take away from this video, take away a few hints, tips, cues, whatever you guys want. And hopefully it can help you guys out with your deadlift. So yeah, so upper back setup. So firstly, we're going to talk about the different ways that people do it. So I mean, upper back setup, upper back tightness. There are three main ways that people usually do it. We'll fast forward a tiny bit after this top single that I hit that day, 200. Solid. Yeah, deadlift positioning was feeling on point that day. So here we go. Three main ways that people normally try to set up their upper back before they're deadlifting. So the first way is going to be tightening up the upper back, kind of in an upwards and back motion like that. So you're going to feel your upper trap and rhomboids tighten. And then a lot of times that gives people that feeling of tightness as they're setting up for the deadlift. So that's way number one. Okay, second way. That's way number one. So you guys see the difference. Way number two. So that's when people just pretty much straight tighten their lat and lengthen their arms straight downwards. So we're going to call that upper back tightness position number two. Then number three, you guys seen that, so we'll run it back a tiny bit. So from way number two to position number three. So the shoulders are actually slightly forward. So you're actually protracting with the shoulder blades. So that's upper back positioning number three. All right. So which way is right? And obviously there's no one right answer. But I can tell you there is one position that you don't want to be in, and that is the positioning number one, the first positioning that we went over, with tightening the rhomboids and upper trap kind of back and up. Now, while you might feel the upper back, you might get a feeling of tightness, it actually hinders your deadlift in a few ways. So obviously the ways that you want to do it are either tightening the lats and arms straight downwards, so that straight vertical up and down motion. So here we go. I do it a little bit lower, so that's tightening the back, tightening the upper back upwards. That's straight down, and then that's a little bit protraction right there. So you want to be in the deadlift upper back positioning number two or number three. So here we go. I did the three movements a little bit lower in my stance, so to kind of get my point across of why they're correct. So there's deadlift positioning, upper back number 1. So you can kind of see firstly we're going to look at the arm length. So take a note about where that arm length is. If you tighten your back, kind of that upwards and back positioning, it's about right there. Now we're going to go over here you go, number 2. So number 2, you can see all of my fingers are almost completely behind this weight. So that means my hands are actually closer to the bar, putting you at a better mechanically advantaged position to pull the weight up. Then here you go. This is number 3. So this is deadlift position number 3. As you can see, all of my fingers are behind the weight. So that's the first reason that we're going to go over on why you want your upper back tightness to either be straight down or slightly protracted in this position. So those few inches, every inch matters when you're pulling your deadlift. But yeah, so you might not think that like 1 or 2 inches can make a huge difference on the way that you pull your deadlift or the positioning that it puts you in. But just those few inches, it allows you to get into such a better mechanically advantaged position to pull the bar. So that's the first reason on why you want to use the deadlift upper back positioning, either number 2 or number 3. So either straight down or with the shoulder blades slightly protracted. And here we go. We're just going to go forth with the deadlifts. Now, the position that I do it in, I personally slightly protract my shoulders. I guess you could say it's a little bit more advanced than having just pinching your lats and then going straight down. You stabilize a lot more with the pecs, because with the pecs, they contract with that protracted feeling, or with that protraction of the shoulder blades. So it's just a different way of tightening the upper back. Now, both ways are completely acceptable. You just got to find out with what works well with your body and the way that you're built. Here we go. Here's another example. So deadlift positioning number 1, we'll play it through. I go through all 3 positions here, and you guys can see the actual difference because this video has the bar in it. So there you go. That's 1. Number 2, straight down. My hip angle is staying the same in all 3 of these, and then that's slightly forward. So we'll run that back. So again, this is a huge difference, guys. So tightening it upwards and back, straight down, and then down and forward. Down and forward, we're almost touching the bar while my hips stay at the same angle this entire time. So that's going to lead me to reason number 2 on why you don't want to tighten the upper back, back and up, and get that feeling of that trap tightness. So here you go. So you're going to have to get your knees out of the way on the deadlift. And that can pitch you forward just like that. So there you go. So it just makes the lift a lot harder for you. So the knees have to get out of the way sooner. So your body's going to be a little bit more pitched forward, putting the making the moment arm from your hips, which is doing most of the work in the deadlift, longer between you and the bar. So that'll be the first fault you see. Second fault you see, you might see it on the way up or on the way down like that, is you're going to be hitting your knees. So if you're one of those people who are constantly hitting your knees in the deadlift, or grinding it on the way up, or hitting it on the top of your knee on the way down, you might want to look at your upper back positioning, because if you do have your upper back in that back and upward positioning, it creates a longer moment arm, puts you further away from the bar. Another way to combat this that you might that your body might have to do is you might be unconsciously knowing that you're doing it, but you're knowing that you're hitting your knees, so you're going to be lining up further away from the bar. And obviously that's putting you further away from the bar, increasing the range of motion that you do have to move the bar. So that's a bad thing. Then a lot of the times with when people position their back in the bad position, the back and up, you get more instability just because you're using your lats a lot less, and you're using your rhomboids and traps a lot more. So the lats do a really good job at stabilization. That's their job. That's their main job in the deadlift. So you have to let them do their job. So a lot of times when people position their back incorrectly, you'll see them kind of jerk the bar with their bicep and then bend their elbows. So that's one other fault that you might see. There you go. And then that jerking motion. Motion sensor light. So that jerking motion right there actually puts the athlete at an increased risk for bicep tears, just because you're putting your biceps through that range of motion with heavy loads, and then if you do that continuously over time, just puts you at a greater risk. So now some cues. Now we're going to go over some cues to help you get into the correct positioning that you want to be, so that back positioning, either the second or third one that we went over, so either lats straight down, arms straight down, or slightly protracted. So this is something that you could try out on your own right now, watching this video at home. So the head, a lot of the times it dictates what happens at the shoulders. So if you go ahead and look up just like that, the shoulders likely tend to follow, and then you'll open up at the chest. So if you're setting up for your deadlift and you're cranking that neck into extension and looking up, you're more likely to position your upper back in the incorrect positioning. So you're likely to be using your rhomboids and traps for that feeling of upper back tightness and stability. So if that's you, a good cue that you might want to try is looking slightly neutral. So instead of looking up like this, look slightly neutral, and then that'll kind of round the shoulders forward. So kind of what happened here. So here you go. So looking straight up, the shoulders just follow. And then looking slightly more neutral, shoulders instantly got into a better position. So shoulders straight up and down, with the head looking and eyes looking a little bit more neutral. So you're going to be looking down and diagonal at the ground in front of you. Not directly down, but a little bit more down than if you were cranking, looking at somebody across the gym of you. So yeah, that's the one quick cue that you guys can, obviously you guys don't want to be doing this. This is super exaggerating it. But maybe if you guys wanted to look down a little bit, not so much full neck flexion where you're looking straight down at your toes or even at your heels, but slightly down in front of you if you guys were looking to get that a little bit more protracted position. Now it's not so much thoracic flexion, so it's not so much upper back flexing. It's more so just protraction. You don't want to be flexed at your T-spine, at your thoracic spine. You just want to use more so the natural curve. So it is already flexed. There's already a upper back flexion with that. So that's just a natural curve of the spine. So the spine goes like this. So you don't want to increase that flexion in the upper back. You're not trying to flex the upper back. You're more so trying to hold the spine's natural curve and protract with the scapula while stabilizing with the lat. And you're going to be using a little bit more pec if you do the protraction for stabilization, increasing your arm length. So yeah, so now that you guys know the 3 ways to do it, you guys know the correct ways, which way is wrong, which way is right, and why is the more important reason. And then you guys have some cues in your guys' head that can kind of help you guys out to get into the better positioning. So yeah, so that's deadlift positioning video 1, the upper back setup. So if you guys like the video, go ahead and like it. We're going to cap it off here. And we're going to continue on with the deadlift positioning setup. So keep an eye out for those videos. And if you guys want to see anything else, drop it down in the comments and let me know. And yeah, that's it. So as always, guys, stay safe, put in that work, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.